This case is historical. This has never ever happened before. It was filed by three regular American citizens like you and I. And this case has the potential to change the entire course of America as we know it.
Welcome to the Inspired.
Yo, what's up, fam? It is January 6th, 2023. The time is 2:44, and today is the day that the Supreme Court holds a conference over the Brunson versus Adams case. Now, I've been trying to keep you guys up to date. There's not very much information out there, and the mainstream media is not even covering this. Like, this case is historical. This has never ever happened before. It was filed by three regular American citizens like you and I. And this case has the potential to change the entire course of America as we know it. So if you are feeling the economy under the Biden administration, you should be excited about this. I'm very excited about this because I do not like the way that things are going right now. The gas prices are crazy. The economy is crazy. We got people, we got immigrants or illegals infiltrating the country. Whatever you want to call it, America is in a major decline, and it's bad for every single one of us. Like, this case is crazy. You guys have to follow this, man. There's not much information out on it, so I'm doing my best to keep you guys in tune and up to date on what's happening. There's very little bit of information, and I have my resources. So anyway, if you don't know what's going on, this is the Brunson versus Adams case. I have an interview that I'm about to show you guys with one of the Brunson brothers. His name is Roland Brunson, and man, these guys are getting death threats, yo. Check this out. I'm super excited about this, and I hope that it goes through and that the Supreme Court justice adjudicates it. This interview will talk about what can happen, what the Brunson brothers can do if the case gets shut down or extended. Y'all, just watch this interview, and most of all, be inspired, my friends.
All right, folks, welcome to Nino's Corner.tv. I'm with a very special guest. You've seen Lloyd Brunson on the show. Now I got Roland Brunson on the show. I guess, are you the one that pioneered this whole thing out of the brothers? Are you the one in charge, can we say?
No, our brother Darren pioneered this whole thing.
Okay, Darren, with him. But you're all attorneys, correct? You're all lawyers.
No, none of us.
Okay. No, explain this to me.
All right. Well, my brother Darren started out with him because he was experienced in the legal field, and he wanted to learn how to litigate because he was doing some real estate deals, and the way that the deals were done by the bank was kind of funky. So he just wanted to keep them in check. And so he was being sued, and he thought, why am I being sued? I'm being sued by the wrong people. He was like, the person who holds the note of my mortgage is the one that's supposed to sue me. So as in defense, he decided to take an online course, and I've got a link on my website, Roland.
Hold on. So none of you are lawyers?
None of us are.
Are you kidding me right now? This is breaking for me because and you all made it to the Supreme Court for this to be in conference tomorrow?
Yeah, we started out not knowing what we were doing.
Are you kidding me?
No. And
brother, this is how things work. This is how oh my gosh, this is like how God works. I just can't even believe this right now. I don't think my audience can believe this right now. This is insanity. So listen, more power to you. This is unbelievable. So none of you are lawyers.
None of us are lawyers, but we wanted to do something about it. We saw what's happening on the election, and my brother Darren is like, listen, I downloaded the congressional record of that day, of January 6, 2021, and it's right there, proof of treason. And when we're thinking, what are you talking about? He said, listen, this is not about a rigged election. This is like an actual crime that was committed against all of we the people. We've got something serious going on here. And so we got together, and I'm like, we're like, well, what can we do about it, Darren? He goes, well, let's file a complaint against. I'm like, against who? Against the members of Congress. I'm like, you can't do that. You can't sue members of Congress. Why not? Let's give it a shot. We got nothing to lose. So we're like, okay. So we decided to have Loy, our brother, to start out, put his name on the complaint, and filed it in the federal court. And that's where it got jammed up.
How would you guys know how to do this? There's not even lawyers doing this.
I know we're breaking the rules here. We're going outside the box. You see?
I love it. You guys are like gunslingers, man. This is unbelievable. This is like the true spirit of America right here.
Well, it's kind of wild. We want to hear something interesting because we had nothing to lose. You know, it's not like we're hiring attorneys to do this, you know, trusting their judgment. And we thought, we have nothing to lose. So when Loy's case was stuck in the federal court, I said, why don't we file with my name on it, the same case, same complaint, and let's not do it in the federal court. Let's just do it in the local court, like the lowest court on the totem pole, just down the street from me, the second district court. And so we were looking at the rules, and it's like, you can't do that. If you're going to sue a federal officer, you have to do it in the federal court. So I'm like, well, why don't we do it in the state court? Just down the street, huh? Why not?
I'm at a loss of words here, man. Like, seriously, I cannot believe this. You guys managed to do something that no lawyer that I know of has even had the balls to do, and figure out how to do this. And you got it in there. It's almost like you gamed the system without having any.
It breaks the rules of the typical lawyer. They're taught not to do this. They're taught to follow the rules, and it's understandable. I mean, we can't be disbarred because we're not attorneys. We can't get in trouble. We're not attorneys. We can't get in trouble by the Utah Bar Association. We're not attorneys.
So lawyers are taught not to do this?
They're taught not to do this. You follow the rules. You sue a federal officer, you do it in the federal court. So guess what happened? So I filed it down there in the district court,
Yeah.
the local court, and we're expecting a court order from the federal court saying you can't do this. We're yanking it out. Well, that didn't happen. So what happened is the judge started adjudicating this and issued, check this out. After I filed the complaint, they accepted my filing fee, and they put it on the docket. It was filed. And we're thinking, well, if we're supposed to file this in the federal court, why did the state court accept it? So then the next step is I wanted to start serving some of the members of Congress, our defendants.
Why not?
Why not?
Go for broke.
I know, we had nothing to lose. So I thought, okay, all right. We were broke at the time, right? And so okay, I wanted to just serve. What you do on a lawsuit, you file it in a court, and then you get a court subpoena, a court order. So you file the subpoena, which is called the summons.
Wait a second. You guys are just learning as you go.
Learning as we go. Learning by trial and error, looking at how other people did it. And Darren doing massive research. Just like he's really into this litigating stuff. Okay. So I went down to the second district court, and I got the subpoena for President Biden, Kamala Harris, Nancy Pelosi, and a few others. And here I have in my hand a court order that if they're served, they have 30 days to answer the complaint, or guess what? And we didn't know that. We didn't know this then.
For what?
We found out that the court just down the street here has the power to remove President Biden, Kamala Harris, and the others from office if they don't answer this complaint in 30 days.
This sounds like fantasy world, Disneyland. I am just in shock right now. I'm in shock that this is how it's getting played out. This is how it's playing out. I thought maybe all you guys, and I'm sure my audience did too, thought you guys were like top-notch lawyers going at this like pit bulls, and you guys are just a bunch of regular guys, and you all play the trumpet, correct?
Yeah.
You're trumpeteers.
Yeah, trumpeteers.
I can't believe this.
So
I'm in shock right now.
So guess what happened? Okay. So I'm trying to figure out how to serve the president. I just can't walk up to him or hire a process server and say, knock on the White House door. Oh, hey, is the president here? Oh, by the way, here's the court papers. He's got 30 days to respond or he gets thrown out of office. Right.
Right.
So we're thinking to ourselves, me and Loy and Darren, we're like, how do we do this? How do we serve these guys? And we found out that you can actually use the U.S. Marshals, the U.S. Marshal Service.
Okay.
Because they can get past those doors. They're the U.S. Marshals. You can't stop them. They got the badge, and they follow the court order. Now get what I'm saying.
So they were served?
No. Yes, but this is how it works. It's expensive. See, for you to hire the U.S. Marshals, it costs like $160 to serve one person. I'm like, man, that's like $400. Where am I going to get that? So we pooled our money together, and we had them served.
So they were served.
Yeah, they were served. And you know what? Check this out.
What, dude?
I
can't believe I'm having this interview right now.
Oh, check this out. I have proof of service that a representative, which is legal, accepted service on behalf of the president, Kamala Harris, and Nancy Pelosi. So they were officially served. They have 30 days to answer the complaint. So we're like, I'm not kidding.
When were they served?
What?
When were they served?
About a year ago. About
and
July.
They answered?
July.
I mean,
so I did something stupid. I got to tell you a mistake I made because I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Cool.
Before I had them served, I wanted to call to find out who could serve it cheaper. So I called the Washington, D.C. police station, and I said, hey, listen, I got a couple of people that I need served. I didn't tell them who it was. Like, can you do that for me? They're like, sure. They're like, okay. They're like, who are you gonna have served? I'm like, Nancy Pelosi, President Biden, Kamala Harris. I'm like, oh, we can't do that. I'm like, well, who can? He says, well, the U.S. attorneys might accept service on behalf of them. I'm like, really? That makes a lot of sense. The U.S. attorneys, of course, because by nature they represent federal officers. So I called up the the U.S. attorneys in Washington D.C. and I said, "Hey, listen, can you accept service on behalf of Biden, Harris, and Nancy Pelosi?" And they're like, "Well, where are you from?" Like, Utah. Well, why don't you contact the U.S. attorneys in Utah? They might accept service. And so, guess what I did? I happened to call the U.S. attorneys in Salt Lake City, and they caught wind of it. This is when they caught wind of it. And so,
okay, but I mean, it's trial and error, man. You didn't know.
Trial and error. So I managed to use some U.S. Marshals anyway, paid them money to have them served. They were officially served. They had 30 days to answer the complaint, and nobody was challenging the court. Now, I got to explain this. If no upper power challenges a lower court, they have supreme power. They really do.
Okay.
They have the power unless an upper court blocks it. The lower
why do you think they didn't challenge it?
Why they didn't challenge it? Okay, well, this is what happened. Okay, I got to tell you what happened. Okay, so it was down to the wire. 3 days that Nancy Pelosi had to answer, or she was going to lose by default, and I get to remove her from office, which is very simple. I just go down the street on my bicycle, get a court order, hand it to the U.S. Marshals, and her credentials are canceled. Boom, she's gone. Okay, so I'm like, this can't be true. Okay, but 3 days before, the U.S. attorneys of Salt Lake City files a motion to dismiss my case and blocks it. Now, what's
so
really
that's because they caught wind of it.
They caught wind of it, but he doesn't block it. He asks the court to block it, because he's doing a motion to dismiss. And you have to understand, when you do a motion, it can be argued. It's not a court order. Okay. The U.S. attorney could have got a court order from a superior court and just blocked it. But he did a motion, which can be argued. And guess who makes the decision on a motion? Guess who makes the final decision?
You? I don't know who.
The court, the judge. Can you believe that? So the U.S.
No, dude, I cannot believe any of this right now.
I can't. U.S. attorney's like, first of all, I wasn't supposed to file this in the state court. So he's arguing it in the state court, acknowledging that the state court has the final decision. So he did a motion to dismiss my case, saying that it shouldn't be in the state court and naming all these reasons, blah, 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 and leaving it up to the state court judge to make the final decision. So me and Darren and Lloyd got together. And we're like, well, let's do an opposition to that, and claiming, and let's show as best.
You guys are just winging it.
We are just winging it, you know. And it's kind of scary, you know, because you got the U.S. attorneys challenging us, you know, and we're like, oh my gosh, what are we doing, you know? And
but this is how it would. This is how it should go. This is exactly the way it should go.
It should go. Can you imagine that? If we prevail in this lawsuit tomorrow, if we prevail, that means everybody in this country can go to their local district court and file a complaint against a member of Congress for breaking their oath of office. And it has to be argued. It can't be thrown out. But right now, they've got all these rules called sovereign immunity. I think Lloyd talked to you about that, where you can't sue. You know, they have an oath of office, but then they turn right around saying, but we're immune. If we commit treason, nobody can sue us or file a complaint against us. And we're attempting to pierce that. This
just shows all my audience, everyone listening to this, watching this, that you do have the power to make a difference. You do have the power to make a difference. I did this with my podcast. Look what this man's doing. Roland and his brothers and Lloyd. I cannot believe what you guys are doing and what you've been able to accomplish this far.
We didn't think we could.
You got it. It's okay. So what happens tomorrow? What happens tomorrow? What's going to go down tomorrow? They decide if they want to hear it.
I got to explain how this works. You see,
okay, go ahead.
You can appeal a case, but except in the Supreme Court, you have to have permission to appeal it to their court. You have to get permission from them to have it heard, so you can argue it. You know, the lower courts, you don't need permission. You file your $300, $500 filing fee. Then it gets to be argued. You can appeal it, but the Supreme Court, to be heard, you have to qualify. They have to check it out. So tomorrow is the conference where they're going to talk about it to see if they want this to be heard or not, or if it's important. You see, they're concerned about national stuff, the cases that affect the nation. You know, like it could be like a case, like an insurance case or something like that. But a lot of the petition, so it's called a petition. You're petitioning. You're asking, please, will you consider my petition to hear my case? And so if you qualify, you know, you dotted the I, you crossed the T, you've got everything formatted and all that kind of stuff. Then it goes to what is called conference. And this conference is the day where the justices get together and they talk about how important your case is, if it affects the nation or not, and if they should hear it. Now, how do they even know about this case in the first place? Now, I want you to ask me that question. Come on, they get $8,000 a year. How do the Supreme Court justices go through all that?
Right.
All right, I'll answer that.
Okay.
They have the clerks, and the clerks have their analysts. Every justice have 4 clerks, and they vet the petitions, because there's like thousands of them. You know, there's like petitions like, you know, I don't like what my landlord did, blah, 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 and that doesn't affect the nation, so they throw that out. So before the justices even know about a lot of the cases, the clerks are trusted in the name of the justices to screen, filter, and throw out cases that just are frivolous in their eyes.
So is it fair enough to say that the justices don't even know about this case yet until tomorrow? And it's just their clerks that know? Or do you think they all know about it?
We've had people say, come on, they don't even know about your case. But yes, they do. And I'll tell you why. Is because the clerks are trained to look for important cases that affect the nation, like cases from the president, from governors, and cases like ours. Now, we weren't sure at first, but we were just confident because we covered this is a national situation and a national emergency. A national emergency means we don't have to wait for the appeals court to make a decision, because my case was stuck in the appeals court because the U.S. attorneys were successful in dismissing it. So we appealed it to the appeals court, the circuit court, and it was stuck there. And we found out that there's this thing called Rule 11, that if it's a national emergency, a breach of national security, they can bypass that. So we were thinking, here we are winging it again. Because the Supreme Court, they have to have that decision of the circuit. So I get a phone call from the clerk of the court, and they accepted that this is a national emergency, a national breach of security, and they want to review this.
Just four brothers winging it.
I know.
And you have accomplished this far. You've got it. So it's on conference tomorrow.
And the justices are going to talk about it. Well, I think they've already had since October. See, we filed this. This was on the docket of the docket, their inbox, the to-do list. It was filed in October, and I got 2 phone calls from the clerk of the court telling them what they needed. And
okay, so that's what I was going to ask you. Didn't they help you along here and push it forward with you guys? Didn't you get a lot of help to push this forward? Weren't they kind of helping you, assisting you do it the right way?
Yeah, an indirect hint kind of a way. Like hint, this is important to us. Hint, could you provide us with this document? Could you provide us with this argument concerning your case? Can you provide us with that?
So were they holding your hand along? Were they assisting you?
Well, the fact that I got a phone call was pretty loving, because we found out that they don't do that.
Do they know you're inexperienced?
They knew that we were pro se, which means we're representing ourselves, but inexperienced, I don't know. Darren, he's like the poet. He wrote all this. I mean, me and Lloyd, we would come up with ideas. But when it comes down putting it in paper and structuring it, Darren is the poet, and he's the one that did all that. And he's gotten a lot of compliments from some attorneys that have actually been licensed to argue in the Supreme Court. So we're just guessing here. We're assuming that this is important. The justices are
just really guessing. You've gotten further along than anybody. This is incredible. This is incredible.
It's like we had nothing to lose. I mean, it's intimidating, but at the same time, I mean, come on, the legal world. I mean, everyone is like, I got the big guns, man. I got the best attorneys in the nation. You hear that a lot. I got the biggest law firm backing me up. The whole thing is intimidating. Well, the biggest law firm in the United States happens to be the U.S. attorneys, and that's who we're going up against.
So who's going to represent? So I don't understand. This gets heard. You guys represent. I mean, how does this go? How does this unfold? Like, who you guys go in and represent?
Oh yeah, I'll tell you. See, we're not as naive as we started out, because we're looking at this like a chess game. Do you think for a second that we're not prepared for a denial tomorrow? I mean, could you even consider that what we've been through the past 2 years and how much we've gotten beat up, pushed around, knocked over, bamboozled and tricked? Oh yeah, man, these attorneys, man, they'll take case laws, rules, twist it to their advantage and convince the judge. They say you're not supposed to manipulate the judge. You're not supposed to influence the judge. That the whole game is all about that. The U.S. attorneys, if you were to take a look at their opposition to us and their objections to us, they've listed like over 51 cases. Case law is decisions of other judges. That's all that is, case law. They call it case law. I don't know why. Just decisions from other judges saying, oh yeah, these people were in a similar situation. They were ruled against because of this and this and that, and twisting it and convincing the judge. So anyone can do this. I'm not kidding. They use intimidating letters, and words and all that kind of stuff. But if you file a lawsuit and they take your money, according to the First Amendment, you have the right to petition the government for a redress of your grievance. Wow. Which means that you can get a piece of paper out, follow the basic rules, and say, hey, listen, this person injured me. This is what happened on such and such a date. Here are my here's the evidence as exhibits, and with a $300 filing fee, file it into that court, and guess what? It's got to be heard.
So you guys are prepared to go all the way with this?
Yeah, I want to tell you something. I don't know if what I'm about to say is going to sound a little dramatic and theatrical, but I'm going to be very serious with you right now.
Shoot from the hip, man. Go for it.
Right now, there's a target on our backs, right? Okay. We all know. It's obvious, okay? And we all know how vicious the other side can be when it comes to this, right?
Yeah.
Well, I've got liberal friends, and I stay close to them. And there's a reason why. And it gives me a chance to kind of feel the nerve of the other side. And the reason why we're still alive, like I say, I don't want to be too dramatic, but as they don't take it serious. They just think this is ridiculous. I can't tell you, it's insane. You want to remove people from office. Well, we didn't make that up.
It sounds insane.
Yeah, and it has to be. Seriously. I mean, look, if you can have a nice garden, you got to clean up the weeds. And guess what? The United States government's got a bunch of weeds in it, and we're here as an attempt to clean it up, which means it's going to be pretty drastic. And so, what the big question that we've been asked is, how can the government run on 100 members of Congress? Well, here's my answer. Just as easy as it can run on 300. 100, 300, you got the legislative branch. They can vote on stuff. You got 100 members who are committed to keep their oath of office. And then you go through maybe the Supreme Court can decide if there's going to be a new election. They can decide any way they want to do this case. They can send this case back to the federal appellate court and say, you deal with it. It's like Pilate.
You're prepared for whatever choice they make tomorrow, whatever decision they make. You got an answer for it?
We have an answer for it. We haven't. This is ongoing. Tomorrow, if they deny us, we got more moves. They haven't gotten our queen yet. And if here's the part I want to get to. If we are granted a hearing, all right, it's no longer a joke. The liberal media.
So right now, by all means necessary, this is by everyone looking at this. This is a joke.
It's a big joke. It's like, you guys are nuts. Oh yeah, you guys were hey, you forgot your tin hats. Come on. It's like the Republicans are like crazy people. They just feel like they got cheated and they're anti-American. And so yeah, we're treated like jokes. But if we're granted a hearing tomorrow, it's a whole nother show.
How do you feel about it?
Well, here's the part where I don't want to sound too dramatic, but we made a pact, me and my two brothers, me and Lloyd and Darren. With the very beginning, in the very, very beginning, we knew that this could be dangerous. And we know how people end up. And so we made a pact that we would be willing to lose our lives if necessary to take this to the end. And we were serious about
Patriots. So, American-loving patriots right here.
Well, we want to be. And I really do believe that we all want to be. We just don't know what to do. I mean, you've talked about it. It's like the worst, what the worst feeling in the world is? Feeling helpless. The worst thing. And you know what? There's a word that we all absolutely love more than any word that exists. It's actually more powerful than the word love. I'm not kidding. I've got the word, and the word is solution. You got a solution, you're not going to be unhappy in this life. You've got a solution, you're not going to be stressed out. Stress comes from lack of solution. Unhappiness, lack of solution. Helpless, lack of solution. And I'm telling you this nation right now, filled with the majority, I believe, that are conservatives, that care about this country, are feeling helpless. You know what that's like, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
So we're sitting here going, you gotta be kidding, come on. There's got to be something we can do about this. And then we figured out that the lower court has unbelievable power. This country, the freedom of this country depends on the courts. It depends on the judges, not the president. Federal courts have blocked executive orders all the time, and they can still continue to do that. You start with the courts. So you just get out your piece of paper, learn how to do it online a little bit, file your filing fee, file your complaint. And like I was saying, there's two rules here that we're going to bust. Okay, one is sovereign immunity, which means you can't sue people in the government. They're protected because it would be too cumbersome for them to deal with all these lawsuits. Well, that's what the U.S. attorneys are for, to deal with stuff like that. They're paid by the hour. Okay, they're on salary. We'll hire a few more. Wouldn't that be great if Congress knew that if they made a vote that went against the Constitution, that some Granny Betty or Aunt Betty out there in Florida somewhere walks up and files a complaint against that person, removes them from office? We'd fight the government, wouldn't it? That's
unbelievable.
Yeah,
I'm in disbelief. Yeah, are you willing to answer some questions from my audience?
Absolutely. Bring it on.
I got some questions here. Wow, this is unbelievable. This is so unbelievable. Have they got any hint of information so some of this you may have covered already, but I always promise my audience to read the questions out. So have they gotten any hint of information that may lead to them to believe that the case is winnable?
No, we're guessing. We're in the dark just as much as you are. And that is the truth. We've had people going, what's going on. You've gotten phone calls from the military, huh? Well, no military. Jet has picked me up to put me and my brothers in safety. We're completely in the dark. We're just guys, just doing our best.
If SCOTUS chooses not to hear the case, then what? Is it dead in the water?
No, no, actually. Now, this might be weird to say, but in a way, that's actually good news.
Really?
Yeah, really. Seriously.
Okay.
We're actually giving them rope to hang themselves. I hate to say it like that, because I do mean a lot of respect. Lloyd tells me, come on, you got to give SCOTUS respect. You can't talk bad about them like that. And he's got a point, it's a sacred position. But yes, we've got one of the strategies is the petition for reconsideration. We have like 30 days to do that. And during that time, you people out there can write more letters. I mean, we've gotten 50,000 letters written to SCOTUS. They have to file those letters. They have to find out what it's about, just in case it's a bomb threat or something like that.
Yeah.
And you know about that. And absolutely. And get more of the attention. We've got 30 days to do a petition for reconsideration. And that means we can get more backing for another hearing. Now, if we lose on that, we got our grassroots here growing, okay? We've got a cause, and it's going to go bigger, okay? We're counting on it, okay? We're counting on you people to write your letters and to get more people involved when it comes to that. The next step is to see our brother Lloyd's case is still stuck in the appellate court. We can do another Rule 11, yank it out, docket that on the SCOTUS docket, and do a petition for writ of certiorari. And our grassroots by that time will be a lot bigger. We'll have a lot more people involved. And I hate to use the word the SCOTUS being pressured, because it's like you're not supposed to do pickets in front of them. But it's not pressure for the type of decision we want. It's the pressure that this is important and you need to hear the case. It's really important that I make this clear. Not what kind of ruling we want, but they need to hear the case and treat this as important.
Wow. Does he think this would well, obviously you've answered this. Do you think this can drag out for months? If SCOTUS decides, yeah.
If we're granted a hearing, it's going to be for months. It's probably a couple of months out. We have to go back and forth.
But that'd be like the most exciting thing.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I won't be able to sleep. You know what my dream is? I got to tell you, man. Now you believe in God, right?
100%.
Wow. You know, and the thing of it is that so do I. And it just seems like that if you're a conservative, you just naturally believe in God.
100%.
The kind of person to put a flag on. Okay, I believe that the will of God, His powerful, true, authentic, pure will, resides in the heart of His children. Otherwise, how can He accomplish His purposes? How else? He puts that little bug inside of you. You know, that little bug that wakes you up in the middle of the night. That little bug that makes you so you're restless about it. You think your desire for happiness comes from you? You think your desire for the career of your dreams come from you? No. So my dream that I want, it bugs me inside. I'm not sure if it's really the will of God, you know, but I just know that I want to stand in front of the 9 Supreme Court judges and battle this out. And I'll be going against the Solicitor General and her expert attorneys. Do you think they're going to be podunk attorneys? No, I'm going to be battling against the best attorneys in this nation. I want that. So, in answer to the question, yeah, it could be drawn out for months. You bet. That's good news.
Whew.
Yeah, exactly.
So the updated count, the updated count on the letters is 50,000.
Yeah, about 50,000. You know, I got these in my church, in the neighborhood. I got these families that I know, and they got teenagers. And what I do is I pick up the trays. I'll pick up like maybe 12 or 15 trays, and each tray holds about 660 letters from the UPS box. I bring them over to that family. They distribute it to the other families. The kids are like processing it and reading these amazing letters. And we go through as many as possible about how amazing you guys are. So there's about 30, close to 40,000 that have been processed. And there's probably about another 15 to 20,000 that are out there amongst the families being processed right now, which take a couple more days. I picked up 9 trays yesterday, 650 letters per tray. Pretty cool. You know,
this is amazing.
Exciting, you know.
Another question. Ask him to point out the specific. Now you're learning on the job, so I don't even know if you could point this out. Ask him to point out the specific area in the Constitution that give the Supreme Court or any court the power and or authority to remove the president, VP, or any member of Congress. He can't because it doesn't exist. That's what they're saying.
You know, I just want you to say how much I love that question. And this is how it works, okay, when it comes to the 3 branches of government. The Supreme Court defines the Constitution. The only branch of government that defines the Constitution. And by that, in itself, they have the power to remove it if we give it to them, which we did. We told them that you have the power to remove these people from office because they broke their oath of office. And when it comes to Article 6 of the Constitution, the oath must be binding. And inside the Constitution, okay, I understand where you're coming from with that question, but inside the Constitution, it defines what binds the oath. It defines the penalty of breaking your oath, which is a removal of office, treason, prison, okay? Now, if you tie that with how do they execute judgment of that? And just think through this, okay? If somebody breaks their oath and there's a penalty, you go through the court system. So by nature, the Supreme Court does have this power. No, I can't find words where it says, oh, and by the way, the SCOTUS has the power to remove the president from office because it's already in there when it comes to binding oath of office. In other words, and here's the point, okay? Let's just say the SCOTUS decides to remove the president from office. What power in this country would stop them from doing that? Answer me that question. What power? What Congress getting together? Oh, yes, actually, Congress can get together and they can overrule the Supreme Court. But if the Supreme Court removes them from office, then the remaining members of Congress could get together and eliminate the Supreme Court altogether. They have that power to do it. So it is the balance of power.
Right. I'd love a breakdown of what options are for the judges in conference. They can make their judgments. What could happen next? Does it go through arguments? And I think you've explained all this already. Public hearing of some kind, and what is their plan of appeal? You already answered this. You've basically
they have the freedom to do what they want.
Yeah, you've already answered all this. I'm curious. In the 10th Circuit Court allowed the case, if the 10th Circuit Court allowed the case to move up, so that the Rule 11 wouldn't be the basis for the filing. The court affirmed it was a subject of national security, but that part wasn't highlighted when they refiled in October. How might the lack of Rule 11 affect the conference?
It doesn't.
It doesn't. Okay.
But I need to make that clear, because it might be a little bit confusing because we did the first filing with the basis on the Rule 11, they accepted it, but that's just when they accepted the Rule 11, they just needed some supplements. Then all of a sudden, out of the blue, right before we filed the second with all the supplements, the circuit court did make the decision, so we did no longer needed the Rule 11.
Ask him if SCOTUS rules in Brunson's favor, who will be enforcing, or who will enforce ruling in removing these people.
Well, you got the military, you've got the U.S. Marshals, and you got.
I just see everything so chaotic right now. I don't know who listens to who
do
anymore.
they can actually do this where it's quiet and not chaotic.
But Brunson, I see this whole takeover. Let's call it what it is: a hostile takeover. You know, and these people just aren't going to bend for anybody, and that's what I'm worried about. You know, they're just
the military. They follow the rules and the orders given to them by their superiors, and that's how it works. Now you've got the court who can who can issue a judgment. The local police can execute that judgment. They can go to your house, arrest you. Court orders, we know. I mean, children have been taken away from parents based on court orders.
Yeah.
Court orders are powerful stuff. And the government military obeys court orders. But then there's a question, though, and I can feel it. I can hear it from your audience. Isn't the commander-in-chief in charge of the military? Doesn't he the one that has, he is the commander-in-chief, right? Can't he call up and say, oh, by the way, generals, I'm your commanding officer. I want you to go and do this and this and that. He actually has the power to do that. But the generals can say, nope, I'm not going to do that. So when SCOTUS hires the military or hires or with a court order, now this is possible. I need to address this. If SCOTUS has a court order, a very powerful court order, and it's sent to the National Guard or the U.S. Marshals, the U.S. Marshals has a choice. They can either obey that or not obey it and break the law, which now that they broke the law can be litigated through another judge. I'm not sure if I answered that question, but
no, I think I get the gist of it here. And this is, so what time tomorrow do you think, about what time of the hour do you think, will you be willing to come back on once we know tomorrow will we know tomorrow exactly what's going to happen?
No, rarely do they announce it that day. What they do is after conference, and this is what they do after hearings, they deliberate it, they make decisions, but then they deliberate and deliberate. So they won't really make the announcement until about Tuesday, Wednesday. Well, if you look at all the other cases, the decisions are never announced on that day. Rarely are they. So we're looking at next Tuesday, Wednesday for them to announce it. They may not. And there's a chance that they may not deny or grant it. They just might execute it.
Wow. That would be insanity. That would be unbelievable.
Yeah, there are people who've called us telling us that they feel that tomorrow they'll just execute the order. I don't know how much they can partially execute it. They can send it back to, like I say, to the federal. That's a good question,
Wow. So tomorrow's the day. We'll know at least some of it by tomorrow. And will you come back on?
No, we won't know. We won't know any of it tomorrow. It'll be
any of it? None of it. Unless they execute it. If they execute it, we'll know.
If they execute it, yeah, we'll know. I won't know. They won't call me up and go, oh, by the way, this is a secret. But we're gonna.
But we should know by
Wednesday,
Thursday. Okay. Will you come back on my show?
Sure.
Let's talk about it. Let's get it going. Let's people are going to want to know. They're going to want to know. So, Roland, I just want to say I appreciate you coming on. Where can people send a buck to you guys to get you in a letter? Don't.
Yeah, I want to thank the people for those $5. You can go to RolandBrunson.com, RALAND Brunson.com. And what a boost. It's so awesome to get like a $5 donation, the dollar donations. We've had people send like the $200 donation.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
I know. And it's just like so encouraging. We didn't have any support at all starting out. We didn't have anyone to help us, So
you guys are doing something that people just dream of. You guys had the balls to do it. This is you guys are true American patriots. This is this is so incredible to me, man. And this should speak volumes to everybody out there listening to this. Like, you do have a voice. You can make a difference. I don't know. I just seriously. So it's RALAND Brunson BRUNSON.com.
Yeah, that's my site. And
okay.
I have basic HTML. I just put that together and help
All
us
right.
out, man. Join the team.
You got it. Thank you, Roland. I appreciate you. Let's keep in touch, and I'll bring you on next week. Once we hear, how about that? Once we hear, you come on.
Yeah, on my Facebook page, Roland Brunson. I post, the current and everything. If you see a post that goes like, wow. Then we were granted, okay?
Okay.
We were.
All right. Well, thank you, Roland, so much for joining me. Have a good day, and God bless you.
God bless you too, man. I appreciate you. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, my man. Later.
Okay. All right.
Be inspired, my friends.